Every morning, you wake up standing at a quiet crossroads, whether you notice it or not. One path leads to another reactive day. The other quietly decides the direction of your entire life. Most people never realize they're choosing, because they never pause long enough to see it. They start the day rushed, already carrying yesterday's weight, and call that adulthood. Morning isn't just the beginning of a schedule. It's the moment your mind decides how it will meet pressure, resistance, and responsibility. Before the day makes its demands, there is a brief window where direction is still yours to claim. Miss that window, and the day pulls you forward on its terms. Use it, and you move with intention instead of force. This isn't about hype or positive thinking, and it's about conditioning your inner voice, the one that speaks when things get uncomfortable and no one is watching. What you repeatedly hear in the morning becomes the standard you live by. 30 minutes may seem small, but practiced daily, it doesn't just shape today. It quietly determines who you become for the next 30 years. Tomorrow is the greatest illusion. Tomorrow feels harmless. Tomorrow feels reasonable. Tomorrow feels like something you can safely lean on. And that's why it quietly takes control of so many lives. Most people don't consciously choose to delay becoming who they know they should be. They simply assume there will be a better moment later. More energy, more confidence, fewer distractions. So they postpone the uncomfortable conversation. They delay the habit that requires discipline. They tell themselves they'll start when life settles down. Without realizing it, tomorrow stops being a plan and becomes a hiding place. Stoic philosophy cuts through this illusion with uncomfortable clarity. The only time you ever truly own is now. Tomorrow is not a location you eventually arrive at. When it comes, and it arrives disguised as another today, with the same pressures, the same fatigue, and the same temptation to delay again. Waiting does not remove difficulty. It only teaches you how to avoid it. Every morning, the mind opens negotiations. Not today, after one more coffee. Once things calm down, when I feel more ready. These thoughts don't sound dangerous. They sound mature and reasonable. But over time, they weaken something essential inside you. Each delay creates a small fracture between what you know is right and what you actually do. Eventually, that fracture becomes distrust. Not toward the world, but toward yourself. The Stoics understood that time isn't stolen from us in dramatic moments. It's surrendered quietly through comfort and convenience. A single postponed day doesn't ruin a life. But repeating the same delay every morning shapes a person who understands responsibility and avoids it anyway. This is why mornings matter more than people admit. When the day is still quiet before momentum carries you forward, you are most tempted to choose ease over direction. That choice feels insignificant, yet it sets the tone. What you avoid first thing in the morning tends to linger in the background all day, draining focus and creating unease. Here is the Stoic response. And it's intentionally simple. Each morning, ask yourself one honest question. What am I pretending can wait, even though I know it shouldn't? Not 10 things, not your entire future, just one. Name it clearly. Don't dramatize it. Don't justify it. Simply acknowledge it, then take the smallest possible step toward it. Open the document. Send the message. Put your shoes on. Begin the movement. You're not trying to complete your life today. You are training yourself to stop lying about time. This small act does something powerful. It rebuilds trust between intention and action. It reminds you that discomfort does not have authority over you. And slowly, morning by morning, it reshapes your identity. From someone who delays to someone who acts. The future you want is not built someday. It is built by the moments you stop postponing, especially on ordinary mornings like this one. Remember this as the day begins. Tomorrow is an idea. Today is a responsibility. The first battle of the day decides the rest. Long before the day tests your patience, challenges your focus, or demands your energy, the first battle has already taken place. It happens quietly, often before you even leave your bed. Most people believe the day defeats them later, when work piles up, when stress peaks, when exhaustion sets in. But control is rarely lost in the middle of the day. It is surrendered much earlier, in the first moments after waking, when the mind is still unguarded. The alarm goes off. There is a pause and a choice. Do you rise with intention, or do you delay and drift? This moment feels insignificant. One more snooze, one quick check, 1 minute of comfort. But Stoic philosophy reminds us that small decisions, repeated daily, are never small. They are training. And the first training session of the day sets the tone for everything that follows. When you begin the morning reactively, reaching for your phone, absorbing noise, stepping immediately into other people's priorities, you teach your nervous system a lesson. You're not in control here. From that point on, the day feels heavier. Decisions require more effort. Discipline feels forced instead of natural. The Stoics understood that self-command must be practiced before it is needed. You don't develop steadiness under pressure if you've already surrendered control at the start. By the time the world begins making demands, the outcome has often been decided. This is why mornings matter more than people admit. It is the only part of the day not yet ruled by momentum. Once the day starts moving, it pulls you with it. But at the beginning, and you still have leverage, here is the Stoic principle in simple terms. Win something before the world touches you. This does not require intensity or perfection. It requires intention. For the first 10 minutes of your day, do not reach for your phone, not to check messages, not to scroll. That device carries other people's urgency, emotions, and expectations. The moment you engage with it, you surrender the tone of your morning. Instead, choose one simple, physical action that signals leadership to your own mind. Sit up, stand, wash your face, drink water, open a window, step outside. These actions may seem small, but they send a clear message. I am awake, and I'm leading myself. This first victory does not need to impress anyone. In fact, it works best when no one sees it. And what matters is that your mind registers the shift from reaction to choice. Many people spend the rest of the day trying to regain the authority they gave away in the first 10 minutes. The Stoics chose a different approach. They rehearsed order before disorder arrived. Ask yourself this as the day begins. What is one small victory I can claim before the world makes its demands? Remember this. The day does not overpower you. You hand it over, or you lead it. And that decision is made at the very beginning. Do the hard thing first. Most days don't feel overwhelming because there is too much to do. They feel heavy because of one thing you keep avoiding. That unfinished task sits in the background of your mind. It doesn't demand attention loudly, but it quietly drains energy. You think about it while doing other things. You feel it while trying to relax. And the longer you delay it, the larger it becomes in your imagination. The Stoics understood something most people learn too late. Avoidance costs more energy than effort. When you postpone what feels difficult, your mind doesn't rest. It stays partially engaged, bracing against what it knows is coming. This creates a low-level tension that follows you throughout the day. You may appear busy, but internally, you're negotiating with discomfort instead of moving through it. That's why the morning is the most powerful time to act. Before the day fills your attention with smaller, easier tasks, you still have the capacity to face resistance directly. Once you use that energy on distractions, what remains feels insufficient for real progress. Many people wait until later to feel ready. But readiness rarely arrives on its own. It emerges after action, not before it. The Stoics didn't rely on feeling prepared. They relied on principle. The principle is simple. Face resistance early, while it is still manageable. This does not mean exhausting yourself or attacking everything at once. It means identifying the one task you are most tempted to avoid, the conversation, the work, the decision, and touching it first. Not completing it. Not solving it entirely. Just beginning. Set a small boundary. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. That's all. Open the document. Write the first sentence. Send the message. Make the call. Begin the movement. This first contact does something important. It shrinks the task back to its real size. What felt overwhelming becomes specific. What felt threatening becomes practical. You move from imagination to reality. And reality is almost always more manageable than fear suggests. Avoidance trains your nervous system to associate difficulty with danger. Action retrain it to associate difficulty with progress. The Stoics believed discipline wasn't about forcing yourself through pain. It was about aligning your actions with what reason already knew was necessary. When you do the hard thing first, you remove the constant background tension that clouds the rest of the day. Notice what happens after you act, so your mind feels clearer. Smaller tasks feel lighter. Decisions require less effort, not because the day changed, but because you did. Many people structure their days around comfort, saving difficulty for later. The Stoics structured their days around responsibility, knowing that ease naturally followed. Each morning, ask yourself one direct question. What am I avoiding because it feels uncomfortable, not because it's unimportant? Name it without judgment, then engage it briefly and intentionally. You don't need to suffer, you need to move. This practice builds trust. Every time you face resistance, instead of circling it, you reinforce an identity. I am someone who acts. Over time, that identity becomes automatic. You no longer rely on motivation. You rely on yourself. Remember this as the day begins. The hard thing doesn't disappear when you delay it. It only grows heavier. Face it early, and let the rest of the day feel lighter as a result. You don't need motivation. You need standards. Most people wait for motivation before they act. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for the right mood. And in that waiting, nothing consistent ever gets built. Motivation feels powerful when it appears, but it's unreliable by nature. It rises and falls with sleep, stress, emotions, and circumstances. The Stoics recognized this long before modern self-help culture existed. They understood that a life built on feelings will always be unstable. Standards, on the other hand, do not fluctuate. A standard is a decision you make once, so you don't have to keep negotiating with yourself every day. It removes emotion from action. You don't ask how you feel, you ask who you are. Modern culture teaches people to follow their energy. Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. Train your actions so your energy follows. When you rely on motivation, you surrender authority to conditions you can't control. When you live by standards, you reclaim it. Think about how exhausting it is to argue with yourself every morning. Should I go to the gym today? Should I focus? Should I do the work now or later? These small internal debates drain more energy than the action itself. They create friction before you even begin. The Stoic solution is simple, but not easy. Choose a small number of non-negotiable standards and obey them regardless of mood. This doesn't mean living rigidly or punishing yourself. It means deciding what behavior aligns with your values, then honoring that decision consistently. A standard might be as simple as, I show up on time, or I don't skip when it's uncomfortable, or I do the work before I seek comfort. Once a standard is set, the conversation ends. Each morning, instead of asking, do I feel like doing this? You ask one question. Is this my standard? That single question changes everything. It shifts you from emotional reasoning to identity-based action. You stop chasing the right feeling and start becoming a reliable person to yourself. The Stoics believed that self-respect grows from consistency, not intensity. You don't need dramatic effort. You need repeatable behavior. Standards create that repetition. Over time, they form character, the quiet kind that doesn't need validation. Notice how this simplifies life. Decisions become faster. Resistance loses its power. You conserve mental energy because you are no longer constantly persuading yourself. You act because it's what you do. This is especially important in the morning. Early in the day, your standards are tested before your willpower is fully awake. If you allow your mood to decide your actions, the rest of the day follows that pattern. But when you obey your standards in the morning, discipline becomes the baseline, not the exception. Start small. Choose one standard that matters. Just one. Something simple enough to keep, but meaningful enough to matter. Honor it today, then tomorrow, then again. You are not trying to become motivated. You are becoming dependable, and that is far more powerful. Remember this: motivation fades, standards remain. Most exhaustion comes from carrying what isn't yours. Not all exhaustion comes from doing too much. A large part of it comes from carrying things that were never yours to begin with. Many people wake up already tired, even after a full night of sleep. They assume it's physical. It rarely is. More often, it's mental weight, expectations, responsibilities, emotions, and outcomes that sit quietly on the mind long before the day begins. The Stoics were clear about this burden. They taught that suffering multiplies when we confuse what belongs to us with what does not. When you take responsibility for things outside your control, your energy leaks away without producing any meaningful progress. Consider how often your thoughts drift toward other people's reactions. Will they approve? Will they misunderstand? Will this upset them? These concerns feel responsible, even compassionate. But over time, they become heavy. You begin living in anticipation instead of intention. Much of this weight is invisible. No one praises you for carrying it. No one sees it. Yet it drains your focus, dulls your patience, and makes simple tasks feel overwhelming. The Stoic approach is not cold or indifferent. It is precise. You are responsible for your actions, not for the outcomes they produce in others. Confusing the two is one of the fastest ways to exhaust yourself. This confusion often shows up first thing in the morning. You think about the emails you'll receive, the conversations you might have, the problems you may be asked to solve. Before you've done anything, you're already mentally responding to situations that haven't happened yet. So this is where the Stoic practice becomes practical. Each morning, before the day gains momentum, ask yourself 3 quiet questions. Is this within my control? Is this truly my responsibility? Can I release this for today? These questions are not meant to dismiss care or commitment. They are meant to clarify where your energy belongs. What remains after this process is lighter, but also more effective. Releasing what isn't yours does not mean avoiding responsibility. It means refusing unnecessary suffering. You still show up. You still act with integrity. You simply stop carrying imagined outcomes on your back. Notice the difference when you do this. Tasks feel clearer. Conversations feel simpler. You respond instead of react. Your energy stops scattering in 100 directions. See, the Stoics believed that freedom begins not with acquiring more, but with letting go. When you release what does not belong to you, you recover strength without effort. You create space, and space allows clarity. This practice builds a quiet confidence. You stop over-explaining. You stop anticipating judgment. You act, then let the result be what it is. Each morning, lighten the load. Not by doing less of what matters, but by dropping what never did. Remember this as the day unfolds. Just because you feel it doesn't mean you must carry it. Your energy is limited. Use it only for what is truly yours. You are not your thoughts. Most people believe whatever appears in their minds. A thought shows up, and they assume it is true. It criticizes, warns, or doubts, and they follow it as if it were a command. The Stoics saw thoughts differently. To them, a thought was not an order. It was an impression, something that appears, not something that must be obeyed. This distinction changes everything. If you wake up in the morning and your mind says, "This is going to be a hard day," that is not a prophecy. It is simply a thought passing through. But when you identify with it, it shapes your posture, your energy, and your actions before anything has actually happened. Many people start the day already exhausted, not by events, but by the stories they tell themselves. These stories feel automatic, but they are learned patterns. And anything learned can be observed. The Stoics practiced something simple and powerful. They created distance between themselves and their thoughts, not by arguing with them, not by suppressing them, but by noticing them. This matters most in the morning, when the mind is still forming the tone of the day. An anxious thought at this time can quietly set the rhythm for hours if left unquestioned. The Stoic action here is subtle, but effective. When a thought arises, especially one that is critical, fearful, or discouraging, do not fight it. Do not correct it. Simply acknowledge it. Say, "I noticed this thought." That small pause creates space, and in that space, you regain choice. The thought may remain. That's fine. You are not trying to eliminate it. You are breaking the automatic link between thought and action, and you are reminding yourself that awareness comes first. Reaction comes second. Over time, this practice weakens the authority of the inner critic. The voice loses its power not because it disappears, but because you stop treating it as truth. You begin to see thoughts for what they are: mental weather, not instructions. This awareness makes you calmer under pressure. Instead of spiraling, you pause. Instead of reacting, you respond. You choose how to act, regardless of what the mind is saying. The Stoics believed freedom begins in the mind, not by controlling thoughts, but by refusing to be controlled by them. Each morning, practice this once. Just once. Notice a thought without engaging it. Let it pass without resistance. Then act according to your standards, not your internal commentary. This is how clarity is built, quietly, consistently. Remember this as the day unfolds. You hear your thoughts, but you do not have to obey them. You are the one observing, and that makes all the difference. Pretending to be someone else destroys you. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from constantly performing, not physical tiredness, but the kind that settles deep in the mind. Many people spend their days adjusting themselves to fit expectations. They soften their opinions. They over-explain their choices. They hide discomfort behind politeness. None of this feels dramatic, but over time, it erodes something essential. The Stoics believed that integrity is alignment between who you are and how you act. When those two drift apart, energy is lost. You begin to live in tension, not with the world, but with yourself. Pretending doesn't always mean lying outright. Often it shows up as subtle self-betrayal. Saying yes when you mean no. Staying silent when clarity is needed. Explaining yourself to earn approval you don't actually need. These small performances feel safe in the moment, but they slowly teach you to distrust your own voice. This cost is rarely immediate. It appears later as resentment, fatigue, or a sense of being unseen, even when surrounded by people. You can be praised and still feel empty if the praise is for a version of you that isn't real. The Stoics did not seek attention or validation. They sought coherence. to act in a way that required no explanation, no performance, no inner negotiation. This coherence created a calm authority that didn't need to announce itself. Here is the action for this practice, and it is intentionally small. Today, choose one moment to act honestly without performing. One moment where you say what is true without adding unnecessary justification. One moment where you decline, set a boundary, mind to speak plainly, even if it feels uncomfortable. You're not being aggressive, you're not being cold, you are being aligned. This single act does something important. It restores trust between your inner values and your outer behavior. It reminds you that approval is lighter than integrity, and far less important. Over time, this practice simplifies life. You stop rehearsing conversations. You stop carrying explanations in your head. You show up as yourself, and the weight lifts. Remember this as the day unfolds. Integrity costs discomfort once. Pretending costs energy every day. Choose alignment and let your actions speak without performance. Your legacy is built today. When people think about legacy, they imagine something distant, a final achievement, a defining moment, something that will matter later. The Stoics saw legacy differently. To them, it was not created at the end of life, but expressed daily through ordinary actions. What you repeatedly choose, especially when no one is watching, is what you leave behind. Many people feel pressure to make their lives significant. That pressure often leads to paralysis. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the right platform, the moment when their actions will finally feel meaningful. In the meantime, days pass quietly. Stoic philosophy removes this weight. Legacy is not about being remembered by many. It is about becoming someone you respect, and that process unfolds one decision at a time. This perspective is especially powerful in the morning. Before the day fills with noise, you have a chance to decide how you will show up, not for applause, not for recognition, but for alignment with your values. Here is the action for this practice, and it requires no grand gesture. Each morning, ask yourself one question. Would the person I respect do this today? Not the person you admire from a distance, not an idealized version of yourself. The person you genuinely respect, steady, honest, responsible. Let that image guide your next small decision. The answer will not always be comfortable. It might mean acting with patience when irritation would be easier. It might mean doing careful work when cutting corners would go unnoticed. These choices rarely feel heroic. They feel quiet, but quiet choices compound. And the Stoics believed that greatness was built through consistency, not intensity. A single act does not define you. Repeated actions do. Over time, these small, deliberate choices form character, and character is legacy in motion. You do not need to wait for a future moment to matter. You are shaping who you become today through what you choose to do next. Remember this as the day begins. Your legacy is not waiting for you in the future. It is being built now through the way you live this day. Choose carefully and let the ordinary moments carry weight. Before you move on with your day, pause for a moment and notice what just happened. Nothing here asked you to escape your life, reject your responsibilities, or become someone unreal. It simply asked you to return to yourself, to choose clarity over noise, direction over drift, and intention over habit. This isn't something you listen to once and move on from. It's something you return to when mornings feel heavy, when discipline feels distant, or when the world starts pulling you faster than you want to go. Those moments aren't signs of failure. They're signals that this practice matters now more than ever. You don't need to carry everything today. You don't need to solve your entire life. You only need to act where you have control. And act deliberately. One choice, One standard, one small victory that keeps you aligned. So 30 minutes a day won't transform you overnight, and it's not meant to. But over weeks, months, and years, it quietly reshapes how you think, how you decide, and how you treat yourself when no one is watching. That is how real change takes root. Without drama, without applause, without needing permission. Return to this space tomorrow. Train the mind early, while the day is still yours. And let the rest of life meet you on steadier, calmer ground.